Okay, well, let's get started, everyone. Thank you for watching my first video. Um, Purpose of the reason I'm doing this actually is there's a lot of cigar reviews out there, and I find them quite honestly to be um, wanting, I guess is the best way to describe it. There seems to be a desire to express uh, attributes of a cigar in very personal manners. By that I mean you hear about the cocoa and the earthy and the peppery um, and a lot of the times the complaints that you seem to hear about many of the cigars, um, it quite honestly sounds like they're not being uh, cared or stored properly. Um, so I guess I find frustration in that. Um, or I find frustration in lots of things. Um, but particularly in regards to cigars, I find a lot of times like when people start talking about the burn, the second third, you got that crowning. Well, that's just because the cigar wasn't stored properly or stored aged properly um, at the right temperature, the right humidity, or at some point it has very little, if not nothing, to do with the actual quality or perceived experience with the cigar. So a lot of times it's user error, I guess is the best way to describe it. I read recently someone they called it a ID 10T error, which if you spell that out, spells idiot. So a lot of these are things that aren't genuinely true to the quality or the uh, uh, attributes of the cigar. It's more of a kind of a bitch session, quite frankly. So got tired of it, wanted to do something a little bit different. Um, Tonight, I'm going to try shouldn't say try because I smoke these quite regularly, enjoy them very much. This is the Gurkha Beast. It's in a uh, uh, XO, which is a 6x60. Delicious cigar. I've never been disappointed with it when they're aged properly, when they're stored properly. It is a wonderful, wonderful cigar that I enjoy immensely and have enjoyed for quite some time. Chasing it down with a rum and coke, Havana Club, some nice Cuban rum, and just wanted to light this up, share some thoughts and ideas, and see where it goes. Be right back. Please hold. Okay, so we're back. I was watching the football games this afternoon with a few of my buddies down at this local sports bar, and the topic inevitably came around to cigars, and three of the four guys, um, not including myself, um, didn't smoke cigars. So one of the guys was just asking me, "Hey, what do you smoke? What do you like? What are you enjoying right now?" And I showed him pictures of my wine adore, um, which is something I'll share with you guys at some point in the future. Um, and I told him I do enjoy smoking a variety of things. I have been smoking a lot of Gurkhas, a lot of Gurkha Beasts, a lot of the Romeo and Julieta Medianoches, which are delightful and delicious cigars. Um, so I've kind of honed in on a couple that I seem to be enjoying more so than others. But the guys who didn't smoke cigars, we were kind of going through this little kind of back and forth, and the part that they didn't understand or didn't get, and some people have a reasons why they don't enjoy being around the cigars, the smoke, or the smell, and those are all personal types of thoughts and feelings. And I was trying to explain to them that, for me personally, a lot of it is the two parts actually. it's the ritual. It's the sitting down. It's the cutting. It's the enjoying um, the craftsmanship and the the feel, the taste, and again, more specifically in regards to the ritual, it's I enjoy collecting, accessories, nice ashtrays and lighters and cutters and punches and travel cases, and it's a bit of a hobby. But if you don't participate or you're not interested in it, then it's none of that is going to be of any interest to you. So I've already cut the cigar. Going back to the ritual, I'm going to light it now. This is one of those kind of cool little vector torches. Very reliable. This one's blue. I have another one that is black. They're kind of cool. They're nice kind of tabletop lighter. Again, it's just kind of goes into the whole the ritual, the hobby esque part of cigars and smoking and enjoying and surrounding yourself with people who also enjoy the same uh, types of activities. The other part of it that I was trying to explain, and many of you who know me prior to this, I was in the Middle East for 4 years. Had the opportunity and the good fortune to be able to smoke some of the finest cigars in the world um, that were sold by La Casa de Habanos, the Cuban government-owned chain of cigar stores. And we would smoke every day 2, 3, 4 cigars, and they were wonderful cigars. But the purpose that I'm telling you that is because there was a kind of a camaraderie to it, and it forces you to sit down for an hour, 2 hours, relax, be still, enjoy the cigar, to not just kind of escape more than anything, really, just to be at peace for an hour, 2 hours, with people who have common interests, and we inevitably would talk about world events, current events, geopolitical climate, anything and everything. But it was just always fun to do it over a cigar. Over there, we weren't drinking while we were smoking, but back here, America, we get that freedom, privilege, and benefit. Okay, so we're going to light it up and we'll see what happens. When you're lighting a cigar, you kind of want to toast it a little bit, get it started. You want to have the flame just barely touching. You want to call it toasting it. You kind of get it started this way, and then you use a little more on this bottom edge. Okay, we seem to be in good shape now. Gurkha Beast, this isn't really going to be much of a excuse me, cigar review, as much as just some ramblings, quite frankly. But to be able to do it over a cigar, over a nice rum, it just makes life a little more pleasant. This one I've been storing for quite some time. I keep my humidor at a 70% humidity and 70 degrees. It's a Winador, so it's a temperature controlled. I have a cigar oasis inside of it. I'm not a big fan of the green flower foamy things and the beads and the pellets and the pillows. The cigar waste is flawless. You set it at uh, whatever humidity level that you're interested in, and um, it maintains that level, especially in the Winador, which is just a wine refrigerator with the wire racks removed. And there's a gentleman named Forrest, I think his name was, at a company called Winadors.com. He made some fantastic um, handmade cedar shelves and drawers, and finished them in this beautiful blood red kind of a rich stain with nice handles. I mean, he did a spectacular job. I'll show it to you at some point in the future. But it's a beautiful humor. I'm quite pleased with it and proud of it. But this is a Gurkha Beast. I like Maduro heavy, fuller bodied type of cigars. Um, and this one, again, very, very rarely disappoints. Um, I should say never. I've never been disappointed with a Gurkha Beast. I have several boxes of the Gurkha Beast Solomons, which are much harder to find. My local cigar uh, smoke type of establishment, they sell them there when they can get them, and I want to say they're $22 or $25 a piece. Typically, you can find them online, uh, better priced, but fantastic cigar. This is of the same family, just a different style. I enjoy it. So, what else should we talk about? Patriots lost today. Unacceptable. Tom, I'll be calling you later. Tell Giselle I need about an hour of your time. We'll work a few things out. I work on ships. Um, I'm currently home right now, but because I'm in the Bahamas quite frequently, you can get this wonderful Cuban rum. It's not expensive. It's a Havana Club. I'm not sure how old it is. It's a 8-year-old rum, something like that. It's delicious. Absolutely fantastic. Um, Highly recommend it. Um, and what else we got? What do you want to talk about? Okay, and we're back. Um, Had to reload on my drink. What else should we talk about? Um, there's a podcast that I enjoy very much called Drunk Ex-Pastors. And it's two ex-pastors who sit together and do a podcast while drinking. And they're pretty funny guys. It's a pleasure to listen to, and it kind of feels like the conversations that I have sometimes sitting around with my friends. So it's kind of familiar and pleasant to listen to, and they're insightful, and that's something I enjoy when I'm in the car or um, killing some time. Enjoy that a lot. No idea what to get my girlfriend for Christmas this year. Um, what else? So a couple of just cigar-ish type housekeeping items. I was thinking earlier that when we're talking about the cigar, and when people were complaining about, oh, it burns or it cracked, or you have that kind of crown, that cherry crown, um, and that is largely, if not entirely, occasionally it's craftsmanship, but seldom is craftsmanship. If you're smoking a decent cigar, it more times, often than not, it's actually the storage and the care of the cigar. Um, and This is burning beautifully. I'm in the almost halfway done. Um, Burning beautifully, no complaints, delicious, hearty. Um, it's a great cigar. It's a go-to cigar. What else? Hmm. Um, it's unusual that I'm drinking rum. Usually, I'm a pretty avid bourbon drinker. Enjoy Angel's Envy, um, Maker's Mark. Um, I haven't really delved into too many of like the higher end scotches, and um, but those seem to be my more go-to type of drinks. And they go great with cigars. Um, go great with steak. Uh, what else do I enjoy? Hmm. Um, let's see. I should have written a list of things that was kind of that I wanted to touch on. I want this to be interesting and an opportunity for me to kind of an outlet or vent because I think a lot of times, particularly in the environment that we're in today, of political correctness and tolerance, um, a lot of times people aren't really talking about what they're thinking about and feeling, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of of not speaking my mind. It's gotten me in trouble, you know, often. Um, I have a friend whose girlfriend is at the polar opposite end of the spectrum um, in regards to politics. Um, uh, and I enjoy talking to her. She's, uh, I consider her a friend, but we just couldn't possibly have less in common in regards to her guilt and um, tolerance and um, uh, liberal viewpoints. Um, it's interesting because a lot of the times I find that I can express what I'm thinking, um, or I get further confidence or validation in my thoughts or beliefs from some comedians who I find extraordinary. Um, uh, One of my favorites is a guy who is not, I wouldn't categorize him as mainstream, but he is probably one of the most intelligent, um, um, thoughtful, and he's living genuinely. He's authentic. Um, Doug Stanhope. He is just, you know, I can't get enough of listening to him and his perspective and his viewpoints, and I just enjoy him immensely. Another one is uh, Jim Jeffries from Australia. Very, very funny guy. He's actually coming to the Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, end of January, so hopefully I'll get to go see that show uh, if it's possible. Um, but a lot of times, these comedians they offer a perspective or um, a uh, a way of looking at some of these current events, some of these um, widely held views and opinions, and just kind of tweaking it, looking at it from a different perspective, and it just makes you think, yeah, this guy's onto something. And if nothing else, he's being genuine and honest. He's not you know, bullshitting and saying what he thinks other people want to hear. He's speaking the truth, or I shouldn't always say he because there are female comedians that I enjoy as well. Um, Patrice O'Neill is another, authentic, just fantastic comedian, and he was a great loss. Greg Giraldo, another just brilliant, brilliant mind. Um, his life was cut far too short. Um, but I think a lot of times these guys, they're onto something, and they're able to shed light. Um, Jim Jeffries is one of my favorite examples, um, and you have the 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 I don't want to go into that because it would be too long of a conversation. But these guys are certainly worth listening to. Back to the cigar. A good cigar, a cigar that is stored and cared for the way they're supposed to be. Um, you can put this cigar down for, I don't know, 5, 10 minutes, pick it up, and nothing. They go out naturally. Um, you should never tap it out. It'll burn out on its own. Just let it go, and then just take your lighter again and fire it up. But what I was going to say was, when they're burning unevenly, or you're getting runs or those types of cherry. That back to the storage issue. A properly stored and aged cigar will burn beautifully and smoothly and evenly and tight. Um, um, and if you're getting a different result, it's probably because um, it needs more time in the humidor. It needs to get um, uniformly aged with the right level of humidity. I'm by no means an expert in it, but that's been my experience. Um, but I would highly recommend you going to, if you're inclined to, um, wineadors.com. Um, they put out beautiful, beautiful work, um, and you can you can get a wine refrigerator. I've seen them for $150, and then you spend a little bit of money on the shelves, and you have truly a piece of art. They're fantastic, and they do an extraordinary job. You don't have to worry with uh, uh, with a wineador the way you do with a regular humidor, with the beads and the when you're using a Cigar Oasis. I have the one that is an older model Cigar Oasis. They make them now um, where through, I guess, Wi-Fi, um, it can tell you remotely what the temperature is, what the humidity is, and that's kind of cool. Mine doesn't do that, but I've never had an issue with it. But that is something that when I build my next wineador, I would probably want to incorporate. Good stuff. Um, I've cut back a lot on my cigars. Um, had a little bit of a health issue this past summer, which my surgeon relayed to my girlfriend. She thought he said once a year, which that's ridiculous. But in a follow-up appointment with him, I asked him. I said, "Hey, last time we were here, you made a comment. You said, you know, she thought you said once a year. I heard once in a while. Which one was it?" And he agreed with me that once in a while it's okay. So I've cut way back. I probably have um, between 400 and 500 cigars in my wineador. Plus, I have a second humidor, my previous humidor, which was I think it's called a Cuban Havana footlocker. I think it's called. It's kind of a tall, very nice humidor. But I wanted one that was more controlled environment, so that's why I went with the wineador option, the wine refrigerator converted to a wineador. Um, but I have cut way back. I haven't been smoking anywhere near as much as I used to. I enjoy it. Um, it helps me relax. Again, it's a hobby, ritual kind of. You know, I enjoy as a collector. Um, I've got ashtrays, and I probably have 10 of these travel hard Porfador cases. This one holds 15 cigars. It's kind of like a Pelican box, but when you're traveling and you want to protect your cigars, um, you put in a little humidification device if you're traveling, for several days or weeks, and you throw your cutter, a small lighter, handful of cigars, um, and it's a great way to protect them. You can find these. I use a website called cigarbid.com. Very, very great site. I've had nothing but positive experiences with them. Excuse me. I think you can get those. If you try to buy that in your local cigar retailer, you'll pay $25 to $45 for them. I think I pay like 11 or 13 bucks for those. I probably have a half a dozen of them. I have one that holds 40. I have 3 that hold only 5. I have 3 or 4 that hold 10, and I have 2 that hold 15. And you're probably asking, that's ridiculous. Why do you have all those? I buy them to give them as gifts. I have like some wonderful ashtrays that are kind of they're small, like pieces of art. They're collector type ashtrays, and I like to give those as gifts as well to my cigar smoking friends. I've got some beautiful, lighters, and I just enjoy it. I don't know. I guess there are worse hobbies. There are probably better hobbies too, but it's kind of a nice outlet. And again, it's a way to relax and enjoy some time with some friends, and whether it's on the golf course or in a cigar bar, at a barbecue. It's just I find it relaxing and enjoyable. Great cigar. Never disappoints. What else should we talk about? San Bernardino sucks. We've got to wake up. We can't continue to. It's one of those conversations that if I have 1 or 2 more of these, I'll probably start saying things that I would ultimately regret. But it's a crazy world we're living in right now. I've got a daughter who's 14 next week, and it's a little scary. It's a little scary. This environment where we're at war with an ideology, which is a very difficult thing to kill. Usually, when in previous wars or challenges, when you have a known enemy who occupies a certain territory or geography, you can address it through pretty standard methods. But when your enemy is an ideology and a belief system that is, and this is where you get into the radical or radicalized believers of or radicalized Muslims or of the Islam faith, and I have dozens and dozens and dozens of Muslim friends. I'm by nobody could ever accuse me of being an Islamophobe or a bigot in any way. It's just not who I am or how I am. But again, when you go to this radicalized outer fringes, the smallest percentages of this group, it's a problem. It's a problem that we're faced with today. That it's, you know, I don't think that we're doing a very good job, but we're not going to fix that tonight. But if it can be fixed, I would suggest it can be fixed over rum and cigars, or bourbon and cigars, or just bourbon. But not tonight.